All right, we are live back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. We got Richie filling in tonight. Rich, how we doing, man?
Duke, doing great, man. It's Tuesday night, first weekend of November. Loving it. Loving it. I think it registered 80 degrees in my car today. It was freaking hot. It was perfect, though. How about you, Duke?
Oh, great day. Just took the time out. Uh, just went and voted, and for everybody that wanted to go out there and to exercise their right under the Constitution to do that, and we have a right to do that, but we just had the college football playoff rankings come out. We just had them come out, and we
Any,
were.
any shockers? Any
Uh,
shockers?
if you would have watched the show yesterday, whenever producer Ed puts down his ham sandwich, he could show the graphic that we put out yesterday. Um, I think we ranked the top 18 teams. Carter worked on it and asked for some input, but there is the top 18 that we had. And me and Carter had talked about, is the committee going to rank the teams, and then they slot the buys where they need be. And Carter, that was something that Carter got 100% right. We got 17 out of 18 teams on this graphic. The only team we did not have was, you could flip flop Army and Pitt. Army got hosed on this graphic.
Definitely got hosed. Definitely got hosed.
They definitely got hosed in the rankings. If you have not seen the rankings, Oregon is 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, and that is the CFP's rankings. The graphic you see in front of you is what we came up with. You flip flop Texas and Miami. That is Miami is 4, Texas is 5. Indiana got housed on this deal, I believe. I would have thought Indiana would have been ranked higher than what they were, but they were not. It's just how the committee values things. But going down college football's graphic, or the committee's graphic, they had Penn State at 6. We had them at 9. Really strange on how they determined that. I cannot believe that that the committee valued Penn State that highly.
Yeah,
Indiana.
it's a little too high for my liking. I mean, the only real test they had was last Saturday in Sad Valley against Ohio State. I mean, they struggled with Bowling Green for early on in the season. Like, how are you going to justify them putting them that high?
hmm And keeping it going down the graphic, we got Tennessee dead on the nose, right at 7. Um, Tennessee had that one. They got the win over Alabama, and then they had the one scuffle against Arkansas. And the problem that Tennessee has is they got to make a trip to Nashville at the end of the year. So we shall see how that turns out. And then the committee has Indiana at 8. We're still waiting to see exactly what Indiana is for the most part. I don't think it's so far out of bounds. We'll see how they hold up against Ohio State. If the vaunted Hoosiers that are 8th overall in the college football playoff will be able to withstand a team as the number 2 team in Ohio State.
Yeah.
BYU at 9, I thought was interesting because they are leading the Big 12 conference right now, and number 9 overall seems like 3 more spots and you're out the door. They just better not hope they have any scuffle at all, because Boise State could mess around and get a bye in this
Yep. But
whole
yeah, the
entire
whole
deal here. And then going down Notre Dame at 10, this is where we were just flip flop Notre Dame and Alabama, and flip flop Texas Miami, and flip flop move BYU one spot back, and flip flop Indiana and Penn State, and we had the entire first week correct. So, um, you know,
Not too shabby
not
on
too
our
bad,
rankings.
not too bad on our accord on this deal. I think going forward, I think we have a pretty good gauge on what they're valuing and how they're ranking things. So I think we might have a fighting chance at maybe trying to hit them all right at some point. You know, Notre Dame at 10, I thought that was pretty solid for the committee to value Notre Dame right there with
Right there.
no conference. It's going to be tough for them moving forward. Going to need some people to
They're gonna need a lot of
lose,
help. Yeah, they're gonna need a lot of help.
and then going. Oh no, there we go. For some reason, the camera's still kicking out, but going forward, Alabama at 11. The Tide are taking on number 15, LSU this
LSU
weekend.
at Death
So
Valley.
at Death Valley, that is an elimination game. I think that whoever wins that game, it's possibly you're just going to flip flop spots with them
Yeah.
at this point. Rounding out the 12th team in the playoff is Boise State. They are number 12. We did get that exactly right as well. So Boise State being number 12, and they will have the opportunity to move up, which is a good thing. It just says highest ranked conference champions. So, David Williams, yeah, I mean, but I don't think if you look at Penn State's schedule and look at Indiana's schedule, is there really that much of a difference other than, a half a point here or nor there? But yeah, I echo that too, but we're gonna find out when they play Ohio State. We'll figure out how good Indiana is, whether they're gonna get boat raced or what's gonna happen on that deal. But I thought it was interesting they had a first team in and a first team out. SMU ranked at 13. And me and Carter had talked about this, I believe, last week, and he was talking about, he was on the other side of, well, they play in the ACC, and I said, well, an 11-1, 11-1 SMU is tough to leave out just for the simple fact of their only loss would kind of maybe only be to a conference champion. So SMU is the first team in, and then Texas A&M gets absolutely curb stomped by South Carolina on the road, and they have somehow found their way all the way up to 14th when we had them at 17th.
Yeah.
So is there anything on the back from 12 to 18 on our graphic that you really think that we kind of missed?
I don't think there's anything that we really missed. I wish Army would have been a little bit higher with the committee. They've been blowing people out of the water all season long, and they have them at 25, and they're number one in their conference. Where's the common sense in that? They've been holding their own. I mean, they got a test against Notre Dame in a couple weeks. And that'll really truly see how well how they stack up. I mean, if they get that, if they get that win against Notre Dame, where do they go from there?
Yeah, that definitely would interest a lot of people in that with Army having that would be a huge win for the program for them, and I don't know how you would. I mean, if they walk through everybody that's left in the American, the only team that I would see that could give them a issue is the Tulane Green Wave.
Yes.
So, and Tulane's played the hardest schedule in the American because they have their only two losses are to Kansas State, where they lost by a score, and they kind of took one on the chin against Oklahoma. So that's kind of where Tulane's probably the stiffest competition they'll see. But moving on from our graphic there, we'll just run through the back half of them. LSU sitting there at 15, and Ole Miss sitting there at 16. Leading into the games this week, Ole Miss has Georgia, and that is a huge game for them.
Yes, another elimination game for Georgia. Try to get to Atlanta. Yeah.
So this week, you got Ole Miss has got the big one, and then a team that kind of fell out of luster a little bit was Texas A&M. Texas A&M kind of just, or not Texas A&M, Iowa State. Sorry, apologize. Iowa State.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Iowa State. I think that was a bad loss that they had over the weekend against Texas Tech.
Yeah, it just buckled, and then I don't think they ever got it back on. I don't know if they can ever get it back on track, because it's there's a lot of teams that are in that that I would hate to call them a pack of mid, but you have Iowa State, you have Pitt, Kansas State, Colorado, Washington State, Louisville, Clemson, Missouri, Army. You have all those teams that there's not much difference in them, other than we might see somebody separate. I don't think we've had a real class of teams separate in years past. When you have the 14 playoff, you have a clear division of like 6 or 8 teams. I don't know if we have that this year.
I think there's a lot of parity this year with all the transfers in the portal. It's getting leveled out with the talent wise, and there's a lot of parity. I would have to say this year.
And I would say that also, whenever it comes down to the level of competition, I think that we have some issue as far as the equalization of scheduling is something that I have been talking about, and me and Carter have talked about that, the equalization of scheduling, because you have in some of these conferences where every team doesn't play every team.
Right.
And it's happening in the ACC, it's happening in the Big 12. No issues in the Pac-12 or Pac-2. No issues there, but
no, yeah.
But we can kind of move on here, Richie, a little bit, and we could go to the big matchups for this weekend. Ohio State taking on Purdue. I don't foresee any issue there at all.
I don't. No, I don't. In years past, Purdue's always played Ohio State tough, but I think Ohio State talent-wise, they're going to hang up at least 60. I think. I mean, they're starting with that offensive line, that unit right now, how they played last week against Penn State. Going forward, they're going to get the push against Purdue. They have the athletes, they have the talent, they got the two tailbacks, and Q and Trey. I think it's going to be like a 66-3 ball game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you told me Ohio State beat them 45-0. I wouldn't be shocked at all. We got a rematch of sorts of a little bit of last year. We got Miami taking on Georgia Tech, the Ramblin' Wreck. Last year, Mario and the fellas lost this game on I don't know if you would call it controversial, but a very interesting. It's a weird. Never mind. But they just lost it on a weird play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to tell you after the show, but yeah, they lost it on the weird play. They did not execute victory formation like just like any average person. Just victory formation. So I think Miami should roll in that. Then we have our guys, well, I'll call them my guys. DJ Lagway is probably coming back this week. You never know. As soon as Carter hears this, it's going to be like nails on a chalkboard or producer Ed opening a bag of ham. It's
Eating some pork rinds.
Yeah, producer Ed's back there munching on pork rinds, but Florida taking on Texas. They got to travel to Austin. They are 21.5-point underdogs. Do the Gators have anything for them? Do they have any juice?
I don't think the juice will not be loosened in Texas. I think Texas is gonna blow them out. It's gonna be a bloodbath, and then Napier, after that game, he's going to be in the hot seat. I mean, he's already on the hot seat right now. It's gonna be. Hold on one sec, Duke.
Oh, you're good. I don't know if Napier 100% goes on the hot seat. It's it's one of those things that for me, when it comes to G5 Billy and the fellas, it's tough because if you look at his losses, Tennessee, college football playoff, Georgia college football playoff. That was a game to go until 4 minutes, and and you could say what if all you want, but maybe that's a different outcome of that game if DJ Lagway doesn't get hurt. But I've been saying it for weeks. They're going to beat somebody that they're not supposed to. And I don't know if it's going to be Texas this week, but they're going to beat somebody they're not supposed to. So with that being said, Texas or Florida is 4-4, so we will see where it comes out. The ceiling was 5-7, we had said, and if G5 Billy can get it to, if he can get it to 6-6, I think that is considered a win. And I would keep rolling with G5 Billy because I think they're a year away to be a 10-win team, just in my opinion. They get Lagway rolling. We'll see. But one of the next biggest matchups for going forward this weekend, we've got Ole Miss, Georgia. We talked a little bit about that. There was a little crap talking on Monday Night Football. I believe her name was Maria Taylor, said that Jackson Dart ain't throwing for 500 yards this weekend. So the Dogs are also 52-0 against everybody except Alabama. So I would think the Dogs are they are only 2.5-point favorites. So I think everybody's seen that Jackson Dart performance and kind of I wouldn't say overreacted, but I'm just saying that is a lot of things that we got cooking there. So I don't know if we're going to see another 500-yard performance out of Jackson Dart. He's just playing well. So in that one, I guess I like the Dogs. Not as much as what's going on in Springfield, but we've got not Ohio State. We have Michigan versus Indiana. This is the big prove it game. Oh, you're back, Rich.
I am back and ready to rock.
We're just closing up Georgia Ole Miss. The Dogs are only 2.5-point favorites there. Are you taking the Dogs? You like the Dogs in that one?
Yeah, I like the Dogs in that one. I think Ole Miss. I don't think they got it. I think they're going to get another loss. Carson Beck, though, he's got to be smarter with the ball, though. Dude's been throwing picks, and he's just been ass all year.
I think and this is something that I don't think we've that we kind of glossed over on the Texas thing. Let's say Texas comes out and struggles against the vaunted Florida Gators. If Texas comes out and struggles, do they make a switch to Arch Manning?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I think they would do that switch. Sark is a QB guy. He would definitely turn to Arch because Ewers he's not been healthy this year. He's been having issues staying healthy, turning the ball over. They gotta what I'm trying to say here. Shit. There's
I
gonna be
think
there's gonna be a controversy, I think, and sooner or later you gotta go with the young gun because if Ewers ain't getting it done, turn to Arch.
um I don't I think that when it was very telling to me in the Georgia game when Sark went to Arch
Yeah.
and there's that picture of him and Quinn sitting on there like, man, we can't do nothing but either one of us. And I think if Arch would have gave them a spark and got them back in that game, I believe Quinn
Sark would have
Ewers,
gone. Yep,
yeah,
he'd be benched.
he would have benched him. So that's something to keep an eye on if they struggle. Uh, Georgia, we'll have to see what Beck comes out and does. Like if he plays mid and turns the ball over, gonna be a long day at the Grove, I would say, because I don't know. I think Georgia should be able to stop them, but also Ole Miss's defense is pretty legit this year.
Right.
So it's better than most years, and I know a lot of their fans are highly, highly upset because they want big offensive numbers, and they think that because they have Lane Kiffin, they should be scoring 45 every game. I get it, but so that's where we're at on there. And then we have Michigan, Indiana. Uh, the Hoosiers are 14-point favorites against the vaunted Wolverines.
I don't know. I feel like those cheaters up north, they're gonna try and play spoiler with the Hoosiers. They got taken behind the shed last week against Oregon. They did show some signs of life last week. Uh, I I think it might be I think it's gonna be a closer game. I think it's gonna
So
be a 3-point game.
you think the issue I have with it is that Indiana's at home, and I feel like they play better at home than they do on the road. And as long as and who knows if Will Johnson is playing this week for them? I think that
I think
dude.
he's done. I think he's shutting down and getting ready for the draft.
Yeah, I think he's getting ready for the draft. And then another bigger matchup, I would say for this week, it would have been Notre Dame versus Florida State, but Mike Norvell decided to forget. I don't think Mike Norvell forgot how to coach. I just think they had a bunch of bad misevals in the transfer portal. So
Yeah, going from undefeated to 1-8. Is that right?
yeah, they are 26.5-point dogs against Notre Dame. So it might get ugly in South Bend, but also the other issue is it would be the most Notre Dame thing ever to come home and lay an egg. Highly unlikely, but it would be the most Notre Dame Marcus Freeman thing ever. Because it's like, I don't know what it is, but every time they're 28-point favorites, it's like they just lay an egg. So let's not hope that happens. I'm sure producer Ed is back there munching his pork rinds, but I'm just saying.
David says Indiana plus 14 is too much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was trying to show it. Yeah, I don't. That might. Yeah, he might be onto something there. That might be too much. I would think Michigan could cover the 14. I almost like the under, but it also for the yeah, Brandon, let's go. Also for some of the people out there watching, we've got Maction on tonight, and I wanted to tell everybody about that. We got Bowling Green versus Central Michigan at Ball State, Miami of Ohio. I'm sure the people are going to be wanting to tune into that as well. But also, one thing that does help us out a ton is hitting the like and subscribe button and helping us grow this platform. So that's one thing that we're doing. We have the live show at where at this weekend, Richie?
Cigar 30 in Canton, 10 minutes from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If anybody's in the area and wants to come down, come on down to Stark County. Have a couple sticks, have a couple drinks on the rocks. Meet up with Duke, Carter, and myself. It's a cool place to go, chill out and hang out, and just talk a bunch of ball with a bunch of guys.
So yeah, we're going to be doing that this weekend, and then also, I'm sure wherever Carter is at, he is enraged because there is a Heisman bird on the center of Ball State's field because he hates the Louisville Cardinal for some reason. I don't know why, but he is a hater of all old school logos. But moving on, Alabama, LSU. Who you like in Death Valley? Night game, playoff spot on the line. Can Brian Kelly not choke on the chicken bone?
He's got the home field advantage, but Brian Kelly being Brian Kelly, he's gonna mess something up.
Man, I really think he needs to win this game, and I think Kalen DeBoer needs to win this game as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Yes,
both guys need to win this game because if Alabama gets left out of the first playoff, it is going to be nightmarish.
Tuscaloosa's, people will ride it in the streets.
I mean, it'll be a complete meltdown as far as that goes.
Pitchforks and torches.
Yes. Also going forward, pretty much just highlighting the playoff teams or teams that might have a shot. Missouri, Oklahoma, does that really do anything for anybody? I don't know.
Oh, no.
Oklahoma is a road favorite by 2.5 points. I don't know. So to me, by them being a road favorite, it sounds like Brady Cook is not playing. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what that gambling line is telling me. I haven't heard anything. I'm just trying to see if Brady Cook is going to play. I don't think they've announced anything. But Oklahoma has been really bad on offense this year, and for Brady Cook to be playing and then be a 2.5 point road favorite against Missouri is very telling. So, there's any thoughts on Oklahoma, Missouri, Rich?
It might be a snooze fest. I don't see anything really exciting going on in that game. I don't know, man. It's. I'll watch it. Maybe we'll watch it.
I don't think. I mean, it might be in the multi-view, but
yeah, it might be the vault. They might have the game on at the lounge, the Buckeyes game.
Well, it's not even a noon game. It's a 7:45 kick.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Who's watching that? I don't.
Somebody will watch it. Somebody will watch it.
I'm not watching that. I'm just not watching. You put that in between Notre Dame. You have Notre Dame, Florida State, Tennessee plays at night. Tennessee taking on Mississippi State. You have the night games. You have Oregon, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Alabama, and you stuff Missouri and Oklahoma in there and thinking you're going to get numbers. I mean, those are good night games, but man, the four I'm going to want to watch is Oregon, Tennessee, Notre Dame, LSU, Alabama. I mean,
yeah, those are going to be. I think those 4 games will be. They'll be solid, decent games. What's he saying?
Do not read that out loud.
No, I'm not reading it. No, I won't read that.
Do not read that out loud. Producer Ed is just this guy
He's
behind
on a tear.
Yeah, Producer Ed, he got a raise recently.
Well,
so
how many yards do you think Genty's going to put up against Nevada?
Now, in the past, Nevada has I don't know. I don't see, this is the issue I have with group of 5 teams. It's it's whenever they play, like Boise State has played like late season games or even highly ranked teams in the MAC. It's like when no one's watching, it's almost like they just crap all over themselves and can't get out of their own way. That's the issue.
Right.
And that's why I don't like group of 5 teams like the year Kaepernick beat, I think he was on a mid mid Nevada team and they ended up beating Boise by a field goal.
I think I remember, was that a game in the snow?
It was at Nevada, but Boise's had every now and then they've had one game where they completely just fall apart and it just doesn't work out. So if I checked that score in the morning and woke up and it said Nevada beat Boise by a last second walk off field goal, I wouldn't be surprised. So that's just me. Pitt is taking on Virginia of consequence. I think Virginia is one of the worst teams. I mean, they're better than what they were last year, but I just still don't think they're very good. I think they have a lot of work to do.
Hawaii and UNLV at 9.
Yeah, that's going to be a interesting endeavor there. And then we have, as far as ranked matches go, the nightcap is BYU, Utah, and then Utah State, Washington State. I don't know. I would probably the Utah BYU game is going to be a dogfight. Utah
I agree with you.
Fired their O coordinator. I don't know how well that is going to jive. So we've got a couple of moving parts there. Kyle Whittingham had to figure something out. And then since the last time that we had hopped on the show, Rich, did you catch any of the South Carolina Texas A&M game at all?
I was. That stadium was rocking. That place was electric.
So it was. I had seen a couple of different people come out and say this, that if Texas A&M let South Carolina jump all over them in the beginning of the game, it was over. It was over. So that's what I was thinking. So you got Oregon, Michigan. Did you catch any of that at all?
So I was out doing leaves, but I was listening to it while I was doing leaves, and to me it sounded like Oregon's a complete team. Dylan Gabriel, he's the front runner for the Heisman. They've been blowing teams out, putting up 35 points a game, and their defense they have a stout defense. Michigan just don't have it this year.
Well, I don't think they have a quarterback. They have this Davis Warren character, I believe.
Warren and Orgy. Who's like Denard Robinson 2.0, but he can't throw.
And then they had Tuttle, which he recently retired. And then they had Carter Smith committed to him until he decommitted.
Yeah, what was up with that? Carter Smith just saying no thanks. I'll pass, Sharon.
Yeah, I believe that is I think that's strange. Getting a large decommitment like that is a thing. Oh yeah, David, I forgot about this. Yes, Lincoln Riley did bench Miller Moss. Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, back in where I believe it was in early March or April when we were going through the Notre Dame schedule. Me and Carter had talked about the end of the year And yeah, Carter just sent a message that said Wolfong just crystal balled Underwood to Michigan, $32 million alleged deal. Sorry about that, but a $32 million alleged deal for some reason. I got kicked out, but sorry about that, Rich.
Oh, you're good.
But an alleged $32 million deal for Underwood. You have Lincoln Riley benching Biller Moss, which is a very, very strange.
Yeah, that I question that because it's Lincoln Riley. He's just been too inconsistent wherever he's gone.
Well, I
He
believe
has he has this high power offense, but the defense they can't hold it up. They keep the big games they just fall apart.
that they had um they had a um they were having issues offensively and defensively. It's like they get into the big game. The Penn State loss hurt, and I believe he has the same record as Clay Helton right now, or did, or close to. Um, so that is where we're sitting on the Lincoln Riley stuff. And another game this week or last week, SMU absolutely blows Pitt out. What did what did you take from that?
I thought it was going to be a much closer game. I thought it was going to be a very evenly matched team. And when we see the score with that, what was that score?
Let me
It was
pull
like 48 to like 25 or something.
that's what I'm looking for right now. Yeah, it was 48-25 is what the final was on that.
Yeah, I thought Pitt was better than what better
What
than
had
that.
what had
What
been
happened?
aver
Yeah,
yeah, that was a very very odd score that it ended up, obviously, the two biggest upsets of the week were A&M and Iowa State and Clemson, excuse me, and Kansas State went down. So we had three major teams go down this week, and for some reason my camera keeps doing this. But yeah, we had three major teams go down, and that is something that is that's been a trend here in college football. Um,
but but
the
but let's talk about Clemson though. Like what?
uh, Clemson, it's been highly inconsistent. Not gonna lie to you, I was one of the people that was in Dabo's corner because he has been, um, a lot of consistency out of Dabo. Um, I think it hurts him that there's that program Georgia, the mean machine in red and black coming down the track, as Pat McAfee likes to say. Um, that is very very hard to compete against, I
Very,
believe.
yeah.
So
And
I I think that cut into Dabo's big time recruiting base, and then I don't think he was prepared to lose all of his assistants in like 22 months. Because pretty much Venables took the whole defensive staff with him to Oklahoma, and a lot of guys left and got other jobs.
right. Plus, they
You
didn't
know,
hit the portal. They didn't hit the portal either. Which you
I don't.
think?
I just think that Dabo had a pretty good track record of hitting on good quarterbacks. He had uh he had Massage Man and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, their NFL careers haven't been great, but
Right.
Deshaun Deshaun Watson's been very underwhelming and disappointing if you're a Browns fan.
I'm sure there's Browns fans listening. Oh well, you got the Cleveland Crab King now.
Now, well, yeah. And
For now.
David, yeah, I think Dabo will adapt to his to his philosophy. I don't think that I don't think that him not using the transfer portal is the end of the world like some people think it is, because some of the schools that have, been very portal heavy, it hasn't worked out. Florida State,
Florida State, prime example.
uh,
Undefeated, 1-10, 1-8, 1-9. Like
1-8, and then you can do. I'm not even going to do the transitive property thing, but you can look at, you know, there's a lot of teams without naming names. There's a lot of locker room issues out there that I've heard. A lot of locker room issues.
like who?
As far as look at the guys that aren't playing. Is Will Johnson hurt?
Yeah. Maybe.
So
No, he's not hurt.
So
He's, no.
you've got those issues going on out there, and then you've had a couple of guys hit the portal already throughout the year. So whenever we talk about, is bringing in all these new guys the
The
best
answer?
thing in the is it productive?
It has to work with the culture too.
Exactly. Army and Navy didn't take any transfers either, and their culture seems to be pretty good. They were both ranked at one point in time. I get it. They're service academies, but the three service academies and Dabo didn't take transfers, and I actually respect him for sticking to his guns.
I do too. And look what they're doing. They're taking the college football world by storm with how well Navy or Army and Navy and Air Force have been playing.
And I get, at some points, you got to go in the portal and replace some people, but sometimes the portal isn't always the answer.
No.
In my opinion, I think recruiting, developing. We're gonna see what it turns out to be, because Hugh Freeze down there at Auburn,
What a train wreck.
Diarrhea Man, is also recruiting his ass off. So we'll see if the high school development, if he gets the time to do that, because I believe that in the transfer portal, if you need a running back or if you need a wideout, if there's somebody there that's good enough to play at your program, go get them. But I'm not saying sacrifice your whole culture to do that. But also, I think the portal is also good for coaches on the other end, to where they can cut out a lot of the bad apples at their programs. Colorado, I mean, a lot of people gave Dion a whole bunch of mess about Colorado, but look at what he did. He got rid of 80 some guys, brought in new guys, and they're ranked in the
Turn that
college.
culture around. Yeah.
They're ranked in the college football playoffs. Say that he's not, that he's a paper dragon or paper lion or whatever you want to call him, and say people that are unserious that go there. Well, he's ranked in the college football playoff. He went from 1-11 to 4-8 to where they're probably going to win 10 games this year.
Right.
I think that's a pretty good turnaround. And then also,
and the players have bought in.
Yeah, and I think as long as you have buy-in in culture and things of substance at some of these programs, you're going to get things like that. Like, I think Dabo has buy-in at Clemson. Billy Napier has buy-in at Florida. Those kids are still playing hard. Jeff Lebby's got buy-in at Mississippi State. They have every reason in the world to quit, to give up, enter the portal, go to the next endeavor. But but what's Jeff Lebby doing? He's out there fundraising, trying to get resources, trying to bring guys in. That is what good coaches do. I've had some conversations about, people are saying, Brett Lashley at SMU is going to leave. They raised $150 million. They're not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
The Pony Express could be back.
Yeah,
That's a great
David.
point, David.
That is a good point. It is really hard to get into the service academies because I believe you have to have either a
Yeah,
senator or a state
yeah.
representative write you a
So
letter.
yeah, so my two cousins they went to West Point and they had to get like a state senator to write them to get in there, from what I remember, and that's when they committed to Army. This was years ago, from what I remember.
Yes, I know you gotta hop in that Wayback Machine, Rich, but
Yeah, but I mean they didn't play, but yeah, that's how it all works. Yeah.
I want to say the documentary is a game of honor where they followed a Army cadet at West Point around and a Navy cadet, and I believe the Navy kid was Troy Polamalu's cousin. I believe it's called a Game of Honor.
Hmm.
It's a Showtime documentary that they did throughout that in at the Naval Academy. He was a Samoan kid. He shows up and he's got the family tattoo, and I believe it was something to where they were not on the fence about letting him in. Like it had to go through a review board and all that stuff about the tattoo being too long. So at the Naval Academy and especially at West Point, they don't mess around. So
No.
that's a great documentary if anybody wants to check that out. But back to where I was going as far as the culture, the buy-in. Dion's got it. I believe Zach Smith had said that UCF is going to be a powerhouse job because there's nothing around them. They have they have a huge alumni base, and they're going to start having unlimited resources soon. Some of these schools that a lot of people write off as not good jobs have resources now, like SMU can raise money. University of Houston, Willie Fritz is going to turn that place around, and he's going to recruit the hell out of the Houston and that whole area. And a lot of people aren't seeing it, but I mean, he turned to
Talent. There's a talent bit down there in Texas.
oh yeah. So with that, before we round this whole show up, is there anything on let me get to the page here. Um like I said, we have Maction on tonight and Maction on tomorrow. Uh your flashes do not play, and then we got college football on Thursday, Friday, and then we got the whole slate of games on Saturday. A very intriguing matchup that I'm going to keep an eye on. It's going to be in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Does Syracuse bounce back against Bill O'Brien in the Boston College Cardinals? Kyle McCord, 12 interceptions this year.
And he sacked himself.
So,
Can they get it done? We'll see. We'll see what kind of Kyle McCord shows up. Is it going to be the Kyle McCord that showed up earlier this year, or the Kyle McCord that played 2 weeks ago throwing 5 picks?
Yes. And then there's another matchup at about 4:00, 4:15 kick in Nashville. Diego Pavia
The Mexicano Manziel, as somebody calls him.
taking on South Carolina. Another matchup I would keep an eye on that's not, mainstream and being talked about. So, this is a big one, I think, for morale wise. Everybody going in to the year was talking Oklahoma State could run away with the Big 12. 3-6. They're 0-6 in Big 12 play, taking on the TCU Horned Frogs.
The Horny Toads.
Where does Oklahoma State get off the schneid this week in the on the road. Do they get their first Big 12 win this week?
Let me see TCU. They're saying TCU is going to win that game by 60.9%.
TCU
Bowman,
is 10.5-point favorites.
Gordon, he's not even broken 600 yards yet. We're at what, week 9? Week
Yes.
10? I think he's lost the locker room.
It sounds like to me the stuff that, like culture and morale matter.
Yeah.
Because
I think with Ollie Gordon getting that DUI, and telling him, well, the only punishment we're going to give him is we're going to make him run the ball 60 times. Like, the dude committed a crime. Like, he should be sitting out. He shouldn't be playing. You're going to reward him for that bad behavior? Like, come on, coach. Like, what's the next thing?
Right. David Williams here, TCU, no doubt. So I think he's got his mind made up on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going TCU on that one. Hoover's 21 touchdowns, eight picks. Yeah, I don't see the Oklahoma State, OK State Cowboys pulling that game off.
Headbutting the crowd. Can you hear me, Rich?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But yeah, that whole thing. For some reason, I can't. My camera keeps kicking. But yeah. So it's just not a good situation. What we got rolling down there at Oklahoma State. If you could carry the show for like 30 seconds and let me unplug and plug back in.
Sure.
All right.
Arizona State, UCF. Let me see here. I just had that game pulled up. Shit. Hey, dump it.
All right. We good, Rich?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes. Yeah, it was just a quick fix here. Hopefully we can keep it rolling till the end of the game or the end of the show here. Real quick, there is also a showdown going down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi this weekend. The Marshall Thundering Herd traveled to Southern Miss. 13.5-point favorites. Do the Herd get it done? The 1-7 Southern Miss Eagles.
Yeah.
Can they?
I think they get it done. Let me pull their. What time's that game?
That game is a 3:00 start. And if for everybody out there wondered, we are in the East Coast time zone. Oh yeah.
81%, 82%. Marshall winning that game. Yeah, there's no doubt. Their quarterback, Crawford hasn't even thrown a touchdown yet this year.
David Williams. We are Marshall. The guy's a fan. Tudor's Biscuits, I believe, can power the Herd past them.
It's their pregame. It's their pregame meal. So
are they? I don't know. We should probably consult with Carter. He is a Tudor Biscuits expert. Been there several times.
A connoisseur, if you will.
Yeah, definitely a connoisseur of the biscuits. One last. I guess we got time for 2 more games. There is a game going on in Cincinnati. The West Virginia Mountaineers are traveling to the Cincinnati Bearcats. Not been a good year for West Virginia. I thought that they would have been better in the Big 12. So it's not been ideal. Noon kick on this one. Cincinnati 4.5-point favorites at home. is Neil Brown has already fired his offensive coordinator. Is that enough to does West Virginia need to win this game? I mean, they're 4-4. I think it's a must win for them.
Oh, it's definitely a must win.
And
They lost. They had 12. They lost 12 to Iowa State. Colorado. I mean, they've had some close games. Like, the only big loss that they had was against Kansas State. All their other games, they've been pretty damn close. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm reading the wrong one.
So with the we'll transition here. We'll get it rolling. The last game is that I find very interesting is Minnesota Rutgers. Does I mean it's going to be a snooze fest. Minnesota traveling to Rutgers. Rutgers 4-4, 1-4 in Big Ten play. Minnesota 6-3, 4-2 in Big Ten play.
Row the boat, baby. Row the boat.
You're taking the Fleckmaster.
I am taking the Row the Boat Fleckmaster, the used car salesman. Rutgers. They talk about a preseason favorite trying to get to the playoff.
Is Row Your Boat safe if he wins this game? That'd be.
I think
it's 7 wins.
7 wins in your bowl. He's been bowl eligible with the one in that 6th game. Let's see what time is that game?
Noon.
Yeah.
And then your last 2 opponents, you have Penn State
at Whiskey.
At Whiskey.
What, dude, man? I feel like they could. I think they can beat Penn State.
Do you think Row Your Boat could beat Penn State?
I think yeah. I think so. I think it. Yeah, I don't know. They don't have the whiteouts. Penn State does not have any whiteouts. Who the hell? Who's Aller going to throw to? The tight end Warren all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, the Row the Boat. They're going to get them all, cranked up on Mountain Dew and ready to go.
I can't believe you'd pick against a Buckeye great like Greg Schiano.
Dude, Greg Schiano can kick rocks.
I mean, it was rough when Schiano was when he was the D coordinator. It was a little rough, but
and it was rough in Tampa. That's neither here nor there.
But yes, we are at the 57-minute mark. We are up against it. Rich, you want to tell them about the live shows we got coming up?
So there's 2 live shows. We have one coming up this Saturday in Canton at Cigar 30. 12 o'clock is when we'll be going live, Carter, Duke, and myself. And next month in Hubbard, Ohio at Cigar Lounge, 12 o'clock live show. And Duke, Carter, and myself will be there in attendance. So please, folks, come on out, support us, support the show. We'd love to meet everybody in person, just talk, rap about football, maybe have a few cocktails, a couple sticks, and just have a good time.
All right, that sounds good. Hubbard, Ohio, this weekend we will be there live.
Cigar 30 Canton.
Or Cigar 30 Canton. Sorry. When you get them, when you have multiple and you have a lot of dates rolling around, some mistakes do happen. But
that's all right.
With that being said, everybody enjoy the Maction. We're getting ready for a big football weekend. We have the election going on. Hopefully everybody went out and voted, exercised your right. Don't care who you voted for. Just want you to use your right to vote. So with that being said, I don't really have anything else to add other than we got the live show this weekend and we'll be back tomorrow. Me and Carter will be back tomorrow with the full show. So And then I believe it'll be Carter and Richie on Friday, and then me and Richie again on Thursday. And that's about it. And that's the content schedule. And then turn on the bell notifications, and so you can always catch a live show with us. And with that being said, I don't have anything else.
I got nothing else.
All right,
Have,
Rich, have a good night, everybody.
have a good night, everybody.
Like a lot of those were election
It's
day
not
voters.